Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a time, maybe not that long ago, when the skies felt, well, familiar, but also suddenly really mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
We're diving into this fascinating collection of documents from the mid-1950s, specifically issues of Orbit.
Right, the publication from Hora Pro, Civilian Research, Interplanetary Flying Objects.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to go beyond just the headlines. We want to extract the most important insights from all this material.
Yeah, and what's so compelling, I think, about these sources is they aren't just, sensational stories.
Oh.
They're detailed reports, discussions from people actively trying to make sense of what they were seeing. You've got scientists, military folks, everyday citizens.
It's a real cross-section.
Totally. It's a look back at a time when flying saucers wasn't just science fiction. It was a very real, very public debate. It really forced people to question, their whole understanding of the world.
So we'll look at the sightings, the official responses, the science theories that were starting to bubble up, even the social dynamics around it all.
Yeah, how public opinion was shaped.
Get ready for some hopefully genuine aha moments. This deep dive is all about helping you get truly well-informed on, well, a really captivating chapter of history.
Absolutely.
So let's maybe start our journey by looking at how some of the early scientific and professional views actually started to build a case for the reality of these things.
Okay.
Like, take Dr. James C. Bartlett, Baltimore astronomer, April 1956. He was pretty clear.
Unequivocal, really.
Yeah, he said one thing's positive. UFOs do exist. Full stop.
He did lean towards them being like earthly origin controlled mechanisms.
Right. But he admitted beyond that point, his certainty kind of faded into speculation.
But what's critical here, I think, is that Bartlett wasn't just, giving an opinion off the cuff. He did a quantitative assessment.
He looked at the numbers.
Yeah, he reviewed over 1,500 Air Force reports, 1,593 actually, and found that nearly half of them,
Wow.
almost 50%, remained unexplained or were borderline.
So this wasn't just anecdotes. This was coming out of official data.
Exactly. A significant unexplained core. He even said the reality of those July 52 sightings over Baltimore and D.C.,
The big ones, yeah.
the ones caught on radar, seen by pilots and ground observers, he said their reality was not to be challenged. So right from the start, the official data itself was challenging easy dismissals.
And it adds weight, doesn't it, that he wasn't just analyzing reports. He'd seen things himself.
He had both discs and cigar-shaped objects through his binoculars.
It just shows how pervasive these sightings were, even among people trained to observe the sky.
Indeed. And like we see throughout these documents, his wasn't, an isolated case. Lots of other credible professionals had sightings that just defied easy explanation.
Like that report from the prominent scientist,
Yeah.
name kept confidential, back in May 1950.
Oh, yeah, that one's fascinating. He saw an extremely prominent object, not just a pinpoint, from a scientific location.
And through binoculars, right, like 4-power.
Yep. It looked like a parachute tipped over, or maybe a sphere or disc, partly lit, partly in shadow, and crucially, no propellers, no wings, no exhaust.
Nothing conventional.
Nothing. And it even passed between him and a cumulus cloud.
Oh, okay. So that gives altitude.
Exactly. At or below cloud level.
Mhm.
Bright against the sky, but dark against the cloud. That kind of detail from a trained observer. It's pretty remarkable.
And then there's the world-renowned astronomer, August 49, Las Cruces, New Mexico.
Right, from his own backyard, saw a geometrical group of faint bluish-green rectangles of light.
Sounds like the Lubbock Lights.
Very similar, yeah. And his wife and her mother saw it too.
It's interesting how often you get multiple witnesses in these credible reports. Adds that layer of verification, doesn't it?
It really does.
Okay, so we've kind of established this official acknowledgement that something was up there, but what did people actually see? Let's get into some of these witness accounts. They're pretty compelling.
Yeah, let's do it.
Starting with this one they called the Saturnian Affair. Yonkers, New York, August 55.
Ah, yes, Leo Wiegers, civil
Yeah.
service employee, surveyor.
Right. Using a 30X telescope, sees this fuzzy, bright object, 8:30 p.m.
Initially thinks it's Saturn with the rings.
Makes sense, but then he realizes, wait, the magnification, it couldn't be Saturn appearing that large.
And what stands out is his description. Really precise, vivid.
Yeah.
He said it was pure white, sharp outline, dome looked too big for Saturn, couldn't see the bottom, it was tilted away, just sort of hovering.
Hovering.
He was certain it was a solid object,
Yeah.
talked about its beautiful milky white color, and get this, a faint halation or haze of a delicate blue tint, coming off the left side.
Wow, that's specific. Did he report it?
He did. Called the Hayden Planetarium.
Hmm.
The assistant curator, Thomas Nicholson, basically dismissed it. Said it was a reflection. Saturn wasn't visible like that.
But Uyghurs wasn't buying it.
Yeah.
Especially with the moon hidden?
Nope. And then what really adds to it, 2 nights later, exact same time,
He sees it again.
sees a similar UFO. And this time, 9 other witnesses are with him.
9 witnesses.
Yeah. Noted it was tilted sharper, higher up, looked smaller. But that consistency with multiple witnesses makes a simple reflection seem, well, pretty unlikely.
Yeah, that's hard to just dismiss.
And these weren't just, one-offs. July and August 56. That period really stands out. The documents call it when the lull was broken.
Right, a big surge in sightings across the country, lots of different kinds of reports.
Absolutely.
Like Bloomington, Indiana, July 56, 4 boys fishing see this tremendously bright light, hummed overhead, stopped over trees.
And separately, Joe Morris reported a bright object 500 feet up, also humming. That humming sound comes up a bit.
It does. And then Bromley, Kentucky, same month. Mr. and Mrs. Harlan Grimes awakened by this huge glowing thing.
A quarter the size of the moon.
Yeah, shining through their window. Intense yellow, round, self-luminous.
What's really insightful about a lot of these cases, I think, is how they just completely challenge people's assumptions.
How so?
Well, take Cincinnati and northern Kentucky. 2 witnesses, initially total skeptics.
Okay.
They see this circular object lit up like a lantern, pacing an airliner.
Pacing it.
Yeah. Bigger and brighter than the plane's landing lights.
Ugh.
Then the plane lands, and the object just continues on, swerves, and blinks out.
Whoa.
And that experience, it completely changed their minds about what was possible.
I bet it would. And sometimes there was even photo evidence, right? San Bernardino, California?
Michael Thavish, yeah, 15 years old, photographed a disc-shaped object, said it seemed to shrink or dwindle as it flew away really fast, gone in 30 seconds.
And the Air Force was interested.
Expressed interest in the photo and the negatives, according to the report. Makes you wonder.
Then you get the reports of really impossible maneuvers. Richard Hall, New Orleans, August 56.
Right, he saw an orange dot, thought it was a plane at first.
But through binoculars.
No wing lights. And then it starts making abrupt 180-degree turns. Violent maneuvers, he called them.
Violent maneuvers.
Yeah, blacking out, reappearing as a green flash, zigzagging in ways that just, defied known aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Then it just became nearly stationary.
That's just weird.
Totally weird.
And it wasn't only civilians seeing this stuff. Torrance, California. National Guardsmen.
15 of them, including Captain Douglas Horlander.
What did they see?
An object, round and shiny like the top of a tin can, stood perfectly still, then zoomed sideways, shot instantly up to 5,000 feet, then back down to 2,000.
And this was near a naval-guided missile testing station.
Yep. And what's fascinating is the split interpretation right there on the scene.
Oh.
Captain Horlander thought it belongs to us, secret military tech.
Okay, plausible maybe.
But Sergeant Lyons, he thought it was possibly from outer space.
Right.
Same event, 2 credible observers, wildly different conclusions. Shows you the ambiguity they were dealing with.
Yeah, definitely. So beyond these specific accounts, July and August 56 just seemed packed with reports.
It was pervasive.
Yeah.
All across the nation, objects of different shapes, colors, bright white lights vanishing in Cadillac, Michigan,
Right.
intensely red, round objects over Fort Collins, Colorado that kept reappearing, baffling the experts who couldn't just write it off as weather.
Temperature inversion wasn't cutting it.
Apparently not. And some accounts suggest the objects even reacted to people, like that one in Kansas.
The slate gray one.
Yeah, large, round, maybe 12 feet thick, had an opening at the base, shining this brilliant light, tilted, gained thousands of feet in a flick of an eye.
And it changed color.
Changed from blue, white, orange to cherry red when the witness turned his truck lights on, then just shot up into the clouds at incredible speed.
Wow. Reactive. And then for a really close encounter, John Michael, Bedford, Indiana, October 56.
Oh yeah, this one's intense. Awakened by humming, finds himself directly under the beam of a white light from an object.
Like a searchlight on it.
Exactly. Said the ship made a sharp circle, and he gave all these details about the design.
Really detailed.
Wings sat back at dead center. Many lights flickering off and on, from the wings, the tail, and the front, red, blue, yellow, white. Even saw a pattern of stars underneath the wings and cabin apartment.
Cabin apartments, like windows.
Sounds like it. And he heard considerable noise from sort of power plant. That suggests, intelligent control, complex machinery, not just a light.
Definitely not just a light. So we have these visual sightings, but the 50s, also had this other weird phenomenon, skyquakes.
Ah, yes. Charles Fort's term from 1923. Concussion from an explosion in the sky, and reports apparently increased a lot after 45.
And what's insightful here is this pattern, right? Official denials versus public concern.
Big time. February, March 56. Rhode Island, Massachusetts. Multiple unexplained blasts, rocking houses, hundreds of calls.
And the Navy.
Naval Air Station denied jets breaking the sonic barrier. Earthquakes ruled out. But the blasts were so widespread, sonic booms seemed unlikely.
So people wanted answers.
Yeah, a Providence newspaper editorial even said the public had a right to an explanation, that the automatic denials just weren't good enough.
Then, April 56, Florida West Coast, shaken by a mysterious explosion, or the series of explosions. 70 miles of coastline.
Right. A pilot saw 2 flashes. Civil defense supervisor saw flashes, then something like a meteor flash across the sky and stop.
And the official story.
Coast Guard eventually said 2 photo flash bombs dropped by a B-47 exploded instead of just burning like they were supposed to.
Okay.
But a military officer is quoted saying, if this is a cover-up, it is a sorry commentary on the intelligence, or perhaps an insult to the intelligence of John Q. Public.
Ouch. Strong words.
Yeah. And another witness who'd actually seen photo flash bombs drop before found the explanation for that kind of widespread impact just laughably unbelievable. Highlights that growing disconnect between the official line and what people were experiencing or felt was plausible.
And that disconnect seemed to deepen, right? Jersey Coast, April 56 again, Navy practice bombs.
4 500-pounders detonated 30 miles offshore. Shook 100 miles of coastline.
100 miles, from 500-pound bombs 30 miles out.
Officials blamed an unusual atmospheric condition for amplifying it.
Convenient.
But a demolition expert weighed in, saying no ordinary bombs could produce such blasts, and that a lot of the blasts should have been absorbed by the water anyway. So again, the official explanations seem to struggle, leaving questions hanging.
So if it wasn't conventional, what were people thinking? Was there any attempt to explain it scientifically, even speculatively?
Well, there was one theory proposed by an aeronautical engineer, trying to bridge that gap,
What was the idea?
He suggested that if a UFO enters the atmosphere at incredible speed, it creates a complete vacuum channel due to, like, violent air depression.
Okay.
And then this channel collapses with a violent knock, causing a huge explosion. Could also create static electricity flashes, maybe explaining some visual reports, too.
So an early attempt to apply physics, even if it was pushing boundaries.
Exactly. Trying to find a mechanism for these really anomalous events.
And the phenomena weren't always just sounds or lights, were they? These documents talk about aircraft encounters, military, commercial, sometimes ending badly.
Yeah, that's a disturbing trend in these reports. 1956, a C-119 cargo plane hits something.
It's something.
Gets a large hole 10 inches in diameter under the left stabilizer. Pilot felt like he'd flown into a brick wall.
Whoa. And the Air Force?
Initially, tight security. Later, they claimed a jammed control device caused the damage during a quick pull-up.
Convenient again.
It's a pattern, isn't it? Initial mystery, then a seemingly mundane explanation that often leaves people wondering. Like that jet crash in Ottawa, May 56.
The one that hit the nuns' rest home. Terrible. 15 killed.
Yeah. The Defense Ministry blamed a false alarm. Said jets were scrambled for an unknown radar target, which they later ID'd as an Air Force transport.
But people question that.
A reader wrote in questioning how quickly they ID'd it and the distance from other interceptor bases, suggesting maybe it wasn't so simple, a potential cover-up, or at least a very strange sequence of events.
And the commercial incidents.
Yeah.
Those are chilling. Like something out of, well, a mystery.
Definitely. You read about a Pan Am DC-7B losing an engine, then a second one dying, another Pan Am Stratocruiser.
Yeah.
It's a number 3 engine just wrenched from its mounting. Plane plunges into the sea.
Just wrenched off.
That's the description. And even more mysterious may be the KLM constellation. Captain Adrian Veerley.
What happened there?
He heard a peculiar noise, felt something was entirely wrong, experienced very unusual resistance on the controls, like some force literally pressed the machine down.
Some force.
His words. And radar saw another machine 45 miles away when his plane was only 2 miles out. These aren't just minor glitches. They're catastrophic, unexplained events.
It really suggests forces beyond known aerial issues.
It does, and the documents list more. A pilotless plane exploding over Woomera Range in Australia before jets could intercept it. Just suddenly exploded, and a Navy F-80 disappearing near Romeo, Michigan, November 56. Pilot's last words. I'm in an unusual position. Then an SOS, then silence. vanished without a trace.
God, that's grim. And this pattern just continues.
Into 57, yeah.
Yeah.
Van Nuys, California, airliner collides with a jet fighter at 20,000 feet, crashes into a schoolyard.
Collision. Okay, that happens, tragically.
But listen to the jet's radarman, who parachuted out. He said, "I saw something loom up. There was a crash.
Yeah.
I can't figure how we collided with that airliner, if that's what it was. I just can't figure."
Oh, that's what it was. What does that mean?
Exactly. And the source notes curious deletions in the pilot's report, implying maybe something was held back.
Lack of transparency again.
Seems like it. Then February 57, Miami-bound airliner crashes near New York. Brilliant, eerie flash of light just after takeoff in a blizzard.
A flash.
A survivor insisted it hit something. These flames were red or orange, 3 feet high. They were not blue. Pilot didn't know the cause. CAB ruled out hitting a pole, but didn't suggest anything else, for security reasons.
Security reasons. That phrase comes up a lot.
It does. And an Air Force jet crashes in Maine, November 56, after taking off to track a reported unidentified aircraft. It's a recurring pattern. Unexplained encounters, often followed by official explanations that just feel incomplete.
So faced with all this, were people trying to theorize how these things could happen, like the crashes or malfunctions?
There was one advanced theory mentioned, trying to make sense of it all. It suggested a UFO might have a force field.
A force field, like in sci-fi.
Pretty much. Described as an indefinable and unmeasurable radial zone. The idea was, if a plane flew into this field, it could disintegrate, lose power suddenly, or just behave erratically.
So trying to conceptualize an unknown force, even without the science to back it up yet.
Exactly. Trying to put a name to the unknown effects pilots and planes seem to be experiencing.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Let's talk about the information battleground. Public opinion, media, censorship.
Right, because how people perceived all this was hugely important.
And the documents show major magazines, like Saturday Evening Post, Life. They were actively trying to discredit civilian UFO research.
Yeah, seems that way. Sat Eve Post called researchers daffy. Life magazine declared saucers a fad.
Which is pretty ironic, isn't it? Didn't Life run a big feature in 52 asking, have we visitors from space?
They absolutely did. And Orbit, the TREFO publication, called them out on it.
How so?
They asked if Life's new fad angle was a belated admission of gullibility for their earlier story, or, and this is pointed, is the fad talk a nice way of covering up?
Ooh, suggesting maybe pressure was applied.
In hints at that struggle for a balanced public conversation and the early recognition that maybe the media wasn't always telling the whole story.
And it wasn't just media slant, right? The documents talk about actual censorship.
Yeah, people like Donald Kehoe, Edward Ruppelt, they presented evidence of deliberate interference with or suppression of communication for reasons of policy inside the government.
Policy based on what, though? Fear? Disbelief? Confusion?
That remained unclear, according to the docs. Could have been any of those. But the impact of that policy, that suppression, was definitely felt.
And you see it in things like access to information. That big Air Force study, Special Report Number 14.
Right. Access was restricted. The official reason: prohibitive cost and too few requests.
But other government reports were cheaper, even ones fewer people asked for.
Exactly. Major Kehoe was convinced the Air Force was actively trying to kill the public interest in flying saucers with tactics like that.
And their official stance could be just incredibly evasive.
Like with the movie UFO. It came out, claimed new evidence, suppressed films, details about the Washington, D.C. incident.
And the Air Force response
basically amounted to, sorry, we can't comment. It wasn't submitted to us before release.
That's not a comment, that's a non-comment, no engagement at all.
Precisely. And Kehoe, when he spoke to the Ground Observer Corps, he pointed out how many military and civilian pilots saw UFOs, but were later told by the Air Force that nothing had happened.
Just denied their own experience.
He called the government policy fantastic, in the sense of unbelievable, and urged people to write to Congress to get reports released. But often, his speeches were just trivialized by the press.
So it was a real uphill battle for reliable info.
Definitely. Even when, say, an Air Force radar operator near Miami tracks a huge target, 4 to 5 times bigger than a plane, definite shape, definite course.
Yeah.
An alert is ordered at the base.
Okay, sounds serious.
But the base spokesman later grudgingly admitted an alert happened, but denied it was related to that specific radar sighting. It's that pattern of downplaying, denying.
So you've got these sightings, the sense of suppression. But on the other hand, you had real scientific disagreement too.
Oh, absolutely. Not all scientists were buying into exotic explanations. Dr. Donald Meisel, Harvard College Observatory.
What was his take?
He thought most sightings could be explained by, unknown meteorological phenomena, weird atmospheric optics, radar glitches.
Standard explanations.
Pretty standard for skeptics, yeah. He flat out said interplanetary vehicles could not exist because they defy all of our natural laws. Compared them to ghosts.
But didn't he have his own sighting?
That's what's so revealing. He personally saw a UFO flashing red and green, said it buzzed an Air Force B-29 at maybe 100 miles per second. Incredible speed.
And yet
he still insisted it was not an interplanetary object. It shows the kind of mental hoops some experts jump through to fit strange data into their existing worldview, even contradicting their own eyes.
But not everyone was that rigid. William E. Daniels, writing for CRIFO.
Right, he pushed back. Argued that many sightings did remain unexplained by human tech or natural causes.
He thought interplanetary was possible.
He said, we most likely have seen some interplanetary vehicles. Suggested maybe an advanced intelligence and technology could explain things that seem to break our laws of nature.
So keep an open mind.
Yeah, he encouraged scientists to actually use their training to help sort the real stuff from hoaxes and to listen to credible observers. Advocated for open-minded science.
And that open-mindedness led to some pretty alternative theories about where these things came from.
It did. Some quite out there, like James Moseley's idea in '56 about Earth-made mops.
Mops. Like cleaning mops.
Sort of.
Yeah.
He proposed that UFOs were actually built secretly, underground, maybe in the southwest U.S.
Built by humans for what?
For secret decontamination of the atmosphere, cleaning up radiation from bomb tests and maybe other tests that had got decidedly out of hand.
Wow, okay. How did he think they worked?
Remotely controlled, atomic engines, ionize the air to reduce friction.
And how was that received?
A critic called it pseudoscience. The UFO writer noted he'd heard similar stories before, thought it was probably planted rumor. So controversial, to say the least.
Then you had the more cosmic speculations, Mars, Venus.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries of what seemed possible then. An unnamed Russian scientist predicted thinking beings on Mars, maybe with rockets, in 15 years.
Based on what?
Striking changes seen on Mars' surface. A huge new green area, maybe vegetation. And they were looking into whether the canals were great circle paths, suggesting they were artificial.
And people were thinking about different kinds of life, too, not just Earth-like.
Right. Dr. Towns R. Lee proposed ammonia, not water, as a potential neutral medium for life.
Ammonia-based life.
Suggesting life could exist in conditions totally different from Earth. Maybe Jupiter's cool temperatures could be comfortable for ammonia life. And notably, the documents mention reports of an ammoniacal odor near UFOs sometimes, trying to connect the theory to sightings.
Interesting connection. And Venus, there were strange signals.
Dr. John Krause, Ohio State radio astronomer, picked up 2 different sounds from Venus.
What sound?
A cracking noise, maybe a Venusian thunderstorm, but also a long sustained buzz, the origin of the buzz. Total mystery. So the search for answers really cast a wide net, looking both down here and way out there.
Which brings us, I guess, to how civilian research itself evolved and, well, the end of Orbital.
Yeah. By March 1957, CRIFO's publication Orbit announced it was stopping.
Why was that? Practical reasons.
Mostly practical, yeah. Just overwhelmed with mail they couldn't answer. Production costs were higher than income. The usual struggles for small publications.
But there was more to it, something about the field itself.
Yeah, the publication noted what it saw as a shift in saucerdom. Felt like personalities dominated research too much.
Less focus on the data.
That seems to be the implication. Orbit found it hard to balance detailed sighting reports, which they wanted to do, with readers wanting more sensational inside stuff or interplanetary war stories.
Chasing headlines.
Kind of. They also mentioned the strangulation of saucer news nationally. Less coverage from people like Frank Edwards, who used to talk about it a lot.
But they were proud of their work.
Oh, yeah. The director expressed pride, promised a future booklet with unpublished stuff, and really pushed for readers to keep contributing info.
So even as CRIFO's publication ended, was something else starting up?
Exactly. A new blueprint was emerging. NICAP, the National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena.
That sounds more official.
It was framed as the most promising blueprint for a civilian group, led by Rear Admiral Delmar Farney, retired Navy.
A high-ranking military figure. That's significant.
Oh, very. And Farney stated plainly, there are objects coming into our atmosphere at very high speeds. No ambiguity there.
And then Kehoe got involved.
Major Donald Kehoe, yeah. appointed temporary director. His goal was to make INICAP a truly UFO enterprise. So you see this shift towards maybe a more organized, rigorous civilian effort.
Trying to move beyond just scattered researchers.
Towards a more unified investigation, yeah.
And the documents themselves kind of reflect on this need for a better approach, right?
They really do. They talk about the need for cool and sensible evaluation and reporting, complain there's too much junk littering the saucer field lately.
To filter out the noise?
Exactly. Stress the importance of level heads, and acknowledge that many scientists were just afraid due to bad press to even talk about UFOs publicly.
So, connecting all this, looking at the big picture from these mid-century reports, what do we take away?
Well, it's not just about strange lights, is it? It's about this deep human curiosity and the struggle, really, to fit observations that are genuinely anomalous into our neat little boxes of understanding the world.
Yeah.
It really makes you ask, when the official explanations don't quite cut it, how do we, as people trying to be informed, keep seeking truth? How do we figure out what really matters?
It reminds me of that William James quote they included from Pragmatism.
Oh, yeah, the one about new truth?
New truth is always a go-between, a smoother over of transitions. It marries old opinion to new fact so as ever to show a minimum of jolt, a maximum of continuity.
Which is exactly the struggle they were facing, trying to integrate these bizarre new facts with existing opinions about physics and the world.
Exactly. And what's so fascinating, I think, is how much these historical documents echo today's conversations about UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena.
Totally.
Right.
The same tensions are still there. Skepticism versus open-mindedness, transparency versus national security, and just that fundamental sense of wonder about the unknown.
These aren't new debates at all. They've been playing out for, well, decades.
Decades.
So thinking about this whole deep dive into the 1950s, what really stands out to you is the witness accounts, the science theories, the difficulties those early researchers faced.
You know, for me, it's the reminder that pursuing knowledge, especially when you're facing something truly unexplained, is always going to be a journey. It's rarely a straight line. And this deep dive shows how what seems like just a simple sighting can crack open these huge, complex questions about physics, about perception, maybe even about life beyond Earth. It just encourages you to keep looking deeper.
Keep asking questions, keep looking up, and keep digging. Because understanding the past, like this period, really can illuminate the path forward into the unknown.
Well said.
We look forward to our next deep dive with you.